Hello and welcome to Barcelona for round 7 of the F1F Virtual Grand Prix Championship. We have Will Hoskins on pole on your right, Enrique Ruiz on the left, Carl Beckenbauer down in 15th. The lights go out now and they're away. It's a good start by Will Hoskins, but Ruiz is pulling up alongside and will have the inside line for turn 1. Who will make it first? Powers has pulled away in 3rd. It is Will Hoskins who leads through turn 1 from Ruiz, Powers, Milkovic, Simon, Kinnaman, Ellington, Matson, no that's Wagner, and Diego Campos, who is being challenged by Carson Davenport. We're looking at something that happened in turn 1. Oh, it's Hoskins into Beckenbauer. Carl Beckenbauer is out at turn 1, the championship leader, wiped out by Abel Hagen. Wow, what a turn up for the Bucks as Dominicali moves his way past Campos into 10th. But Carl Beckenbauer is out of the Spanish Grand Prix on lap 1 at the first corner. As we start lap 2, it's Hoskins that leads from Ruiz, Powers in 3rd, Milkovic 4th, Simon 5th, Kinnaman still 6th, then Ellington, Matson, Davenport and Giordano's teammate, whose name I've forgotten, Dominicali, there we go. And we are actually on board with Giordano, who was excluded from qualifying, started at the back. He doesn't look to have made much progress. As we follow Jean Matson, who is returning to the series following Jared Lindsay's exclusion, well, 2-race ban for being a prat. As Hoskins runs wide up front and Ruiz can't quite find a way through. Wow, there's so much going on. Can't fit it all in. Nathaniel Powers still runs up in 3rd, leading Milkovic and Simon. Looks to be forming a bit of a train there now. Further back, Matson runs wide and Powers moves through. So Powers moves through past Matson. And back at the front, Simon runs wide, Kinnaman dives to the inside, doesn't quite make it, Kinnaman cuts him off, no, Simon cuts him off. This is actually more difficult than you'd imagine. Oh, Hoskins is off, Ruiz takes the lead! Enrique Ruiz is into the lead! Will Hoskins ran wide at the penultimate corner and Ruiz is through into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Powers is dropping back all the time in 3rd with Milkovic behind. There is a bit of a train going on now as Kinnaman looks to the inside of Simon. Oh, but now Simon is all over Milkovic. So Simon is broken away and now all over the back of the Campos of Nikolai Milkovic. Followed by Kinnaman and Ellington. And it's John Matson running off again and Reggie Abbott goes through. So Matson loses another place with another mistake. Not a great return for the Frenchman. As we jump on board with Kinnaman, watching Simon's efforts to pass Milkovic. Oh, and Milkovic is off. Milkovic is run wide, and Simon is through. Kinnaman has a look but can't quite make it. But Adrian Simon moves into 4th place, ahead of Nikolai Milkovic. And now Kinnaman down the inside of Milkovic. They've just touched. Milkovic off, comes back on, keeps the position. Ooh, that was close from both of them. Up front, oh, it's Powers. Powers is run wide and loses 3rd place to Adrian Simon. And takes out one of the brake marker boards for good measure. So Powers relinquishes 3rd. Up front, Ruiz is still leading from Will Hoskins. As we jump now on board, this is with Ellington, and that's Milkovic going off. Milkovic goes off, and both Kinnaman and Ellington find a way through then. And Milkovic now has Carson Davenport all over his rear wing, while Powers has Kinnaman over his. That Downton is really lacking some speed at the moment, as now Kinnaman, Ellington and Davenport all close up to the back of him, while Milkovic is also falling back. Oh, Powers is wide, Kinnaman is through! Timo Kinnaman into 4th place ahead of Nathaniel Powers, who is dropping, or starting to drop like the proverbial stone. Simon runs wide, and Kinnaman now into 3rd. Timo Kinnaman takes 3rd place from Adrian Simon. As we watch up front, the 2 Franklins who are just breaking away from the field, and Powers is off. Nathaniel Powers is off again, and Lewis Ellington goes through. And Powers now with Dominicali all over his rear wing. As, blimey, the director's flicking everywhere. We're watching the Warrior and Force Australia's battling. Oh, and is this Milkovic off again? It is. I believe he's held position this time. And oh, that's Ruiz off. Ruiz is off, and Will Hoskins takes back the lead. Will Hoskins back into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix then, as Ruiz replicates the mistake that his teammate did earlier. But oh, Hoskins has gone deep, and Ruiz opportunistic up the inside, he's through! Enrique Ruiz takes back the lead that he just lost with an opportunistic move on teammate Will Hoskins. And at the same corner, Dominicali is having a go at Nathaniel Powers. They're side by side. They're still side by side. Powers just holds on at the moment. Oh, but no longer. And a small mistake from Powers, and Dominicali's through. A lot of the drivers are using a lot of the runoff here. And now, Nathaniel Powers has Elroy Wagner all over his rear wing. The 2 cars using the same engines, and this is Timo Kinnaman, we believe, into the pits for his first stop. And now, oh, Wagner must have got through, and this is thunder all over his teammate Powers, and they've touched, the 2 Downtons have touched. And the team manager went like that, and is that Simon off again? It is! And Ellington is through into what is now 3rd place then, with Kinnaman having pitted. And it's a mistake from Powers. Powers has gone off, and that will allow Thunder through, and there he goes. Marcus Thunder takes the position from his teammate. As Nikolai Milkovic now leads his teammate Campos and Jean Matson. But up front it's Enrique Ruiz leading Will Hoskins. Ellington currently runs 3rd, ahead of Adrian Simon. And this is Enzo Dominicali into the pits for his first stop. And we're getting reports that there is some rain in the air as the 2 Downtons do battle. Nathaniel Powers goes back past Marcus Thunder. Dominicali leaves the pits, and he's behind Kinnaman. Ruiz now pits to make his first stop. Will Hoskins will take the lead. And Ellington in as well. So Lewis Ellington in from what was 3rd place. And now Hoskins pits the lap after. And it is raining now. The rain is starting to come down here in Spain. Adrian Simon will take the lead. But who will lead out of the 2 Franklins? Ruiz rounding outside. And Ruiz takes it ahead of his teammate on colder tyres. Ruiz, whose tyres have warmed up for a lap, takes the lead. As we see one of the Lucases pitting for presumably their first stop. And now Adrian Simon in. And here you can see his teammate's car in the background parked in the garage. And that was Will Hoskins off, and Ruiz is through into the lead. Why was Will Hoskins in the lead anyway? Something's happened there as Wagner now pits from what was the lead. And hands it back to Enrique Ruiz, who leads from Will Hoskins. Adrian Simon runs 3rd. Nathaniel Powers 4th, very close behind. Lewis Ellington 5th. Elroy Wagner runs in 6th. Enzo Dominicali 7th. Timo Kinnaman 8th. We believe it's Carson Davenport in 9th and Nikolai Milkovic. Or Diego Campos, one of them in 10th and the other one's 11th. And Nathaniel Power's now pitting for, is that his first stop? I think it is his first stop. So Power's will drop quite far down the field as the leading Franklin de Vries runs wide and this gives Hoskins a run down the main straight. He's not really closing, they have got the same car and the same engine, so I don't suppose you'd expect it. And Hoskins slots in behind his teammate, but Ruiz is off and now Hoskins is through. Will Hoskins back into the lead, but no, he's gone wide himself and Ruiz takes it back. Blimey, these boys are really going at it. I suspect Jamie Franklin sat on the pit wall biting his nails off. Be amazed if he has any left, we're not even halfway through. Oh yeah, we are. Just. But we watched Lewis Ellington following Simon, but this is Ruiz off and Hoskins is through. Back into the lead. No, he's gone wide and Ruiz takes it back. This is chaos. The two Franklins are really going for it. Hammer and tongs. Is that Davenport into the back of Kinnaman? It is. Carson Davenport takes off his own front wing, hitting the back of Timo Kinnaman. As the Franklins are at it again. Ruiz and Hoskins side by side down the main straight. Hoskins is on your left, Ruiz on the right, Hoskins with the inside line. Takes the place and the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Ellington is up into 3rd past Adrian Simon. As we ride on board with Timo Kinnaman, hopefully with no damage after that collision with Carson Davenport. And it's Will Hoskins off the road and Ruiz is through! These two Franklin drivers are just making mistake after mistake and fighting one another lap after lap. As, Milkovic runs wide at the final corner and that allows Reggie Abbott through. We now jump on board with Agostino fighting with Kip Maxwell further down the field. But Maxwell just holds on. And we jump on board now with one of the Force Australias, that's Felix Bayer, who fights his way past Diego Campos and is now following Marcus Thunder. And on board with Adrian Simon, who runs slightly wide there. There's no one right up behind him, and now Ruiz is off again, and Hoskins is through again! And now they both run wide. Will Hoskins and Enrique Ruiz really battling out for the lead of this Spanish Grand Prix. And Lewis Ellington is closing all the time. And now Ruiz off and Hoskins back through into the lead. But all the time these two are battling and losing time. Lewis Ellington is closing up and Ruiz leading, but Hoskins is down the inside into turn 1. Hoskins is through. Back into the lead. And what a battle this is between the two teammates. It's brilliant of Franklin not to have called them off, especially when one's battling for the championship. Ruiz finds his way back through. This is brilliant, and look at Ellington closing up. All the time, closing. And that's Hoskins off again. Ruiz takes the lead and Ellington is now right with them. It is now a 3-car battle for the lead of this Spanish Grand Prix. As Lewis Ellington joins the Franklins of Will Hoskins and Enrique Ruiz in the reign of Spain. As we go back on board with Felix Bayer, and that's one of the Downtons up ahead. Is it Marcus Thunder who's run wide? Bayer can't quite capitalise. And the two Franklins, they're at it again. Ruiz slightly wide out of the final corner. Hoskins alongside down the main straight. He's got the advantage. He'll have the inside line to turn 1. And Hoskins retakes the lead. They're both slightly wide. Ellington is just sitting and waiting. Oh, gets quite close to Ruiz. And the Franklins touch. The two Franklins touch at turn 3. This is crazy. Ellington is just sat waiting for carnage to happen, and that's Ruiz off the track, and Hoskins goes through, and Ellington, he's not close enough to capitalise, and the two Franklins are pitting. The two Franklins are in the pits together. Hoskins slows. Oh, Ruiz has hit him. Enrique Ruiz has hit his teammate in the pit lane, and Will Hoskins is out of the Spanish Grand Prix. What was going on there? Hoskins slowed in the pit lane, Ruiz didn't notice, and straight into the back of his teammate. A collision in the pit lane, and Will Hoskins is taken out of the Spanish Grand Prix by his teammate Enrique Ruiz. If Jamie Franklin wasn't unhappy before with his drivers battling, he certainly will be now. And oh, this looks like Timo Kinnaman has just pulled off to the side, out of the race with what looks like suspension failure, and Thunder's gone straight into him. Marcus Thunder hits the stranded car, and so is that Milkovic or Campos, one of the Ingrams involved. Power's caught up as well, doesn't break his front wing, but the fun of Huge Wire does. And Romano Agostino as well has hit him. This is chaos now, absolute chaos kicking off. One of the Rossi cars as well. Oh, absolute carnage there, all caused by, we believe that was Kip Maxwell. No, Timo Kinnaman, sorry. Stopping at the side of the track on what was the racing line. Oh, and now Dominicali pulls off, and suddenly they're dropping like flies. Enzo Dominicali becomes the latest retirement from this Spanish Grand Prix as Ellington pits and rejoins with the problems with the Franklins. He's comfortably in the lead. Ellington leads from Enrique Ruiz. He seems to have some sort of affinity with this track. I mean, he won here last year for the now defunct BMW Zyla team, and Ellington is just on it on this circuit. Leading now from Enrique Ruiz as we see a Lucas and a Force Australia battling towards the back of the field. And this is Michael Cubat on Nathaniel Powers. He's certainly not afraid of trying to put a move over the world champion, the Czech rookie. And we jump back to the front. Adrian Simon chasing Jean Matson, and he's really all over him, and he's up the inside, and Matson's slightly wide, and Simon is through. Adrian Simon has gone through past Jean Matson. Ellington leads though from Enrique Ruiz, who's just lapped one of the fun cars. And is this Reggie Abbott in the pits? It must be. Or was it Ellington? I've no idea, because both of Peugeot's helmets look exactly the same. Everyone seems to be pitting again though. This is Jean Matson in. So if it was Ellington, we'd imagine Ruiz would have to pit as well. So Ellington will hold the lead. As Ruiz runs wide, it's becoming a feature of his race. In fact, it's becoming a feature of quite a lot of their races. A lot of the drivers really using the runoffs here a lot. And this is Abel Ersterhagen. Sounds like a sick gearbox to me. He'll be retiring that car then. That's a shame, after his strong points run last time out. And Puccio Giordano, oh, it's an engine failure for him, and he stopped in the middle of the track. Not the smartest move, but an engine failure takes Giordano out the race, and that is both the Rossi cars out now. A shame for Rossi. As we see one of the Peugeots in the pits, and Ruiz in the pits as well. But Lewis Ellington is still in the lead of the race. The timing screens have confirmed Ellington does lead. Jean Matson then is now up into third behind Ruiz. So Ellington, Ruiz and Jean Matson is your top three. And Ellington, he's going to round the final corner. He did it last year. He's going to do it again now. Two different teams, but the same driver. Lewis Ellington wins in rainy Spain. Enrique Ruiz will finish where he started. It's second place, his highest ever finish, and another podium. And Jean Matson returns to the podium in his return to the sport. It's third for Team 23. Surely they'll be delighted. Davenport takes fourth, Abbott fifth to make a huge points haul for Peugeot. And Elroy Wagner sixth in the second Team 23 car, just ahead of Adrian Simon. but this is the story. Felix Bayer, 8th for Force Australia in their first points, and teammate Nakamura follows him home in 9th. Brilliant first points for Force Australia, and Campos rounds out the points in 10th. But this is your man of the day, Lewis Ellington. He won last time out in Spain for BMW Zyla. He's won this year in Spain as well, but this time for Peugeot.